Good morning on this fine day in November. So glad that you're here. Welcome to Unity of Charlotte, and we want you to know that everyone here is, and this is in my way, but we want you to know that everyone here is welcome today. Whether you're here in person, whether you're online, on Facebook. So, in fact, I'm going to wave at the folks at home. Do we have anybody at home yet, Alan? Fred's at home. Fred's all the way on the West Coast, so he had to get up early to watch our service here today. My name is Reverend Jim Ernst, and I am co-minister here along with Reverend Lisa Herklotz, and you can say hello to her as she gets up a little bit later and does her message for the day. Let's go ahead and do our mission statement. This mission statement is why we are here. So please join me and say this out loud. Unity of Charlotte is the place where we nurture a deep and mature experience of God through the practice of unity principles. Simply put, we are here to love, grow, and serve. If you're here for the first time, we'd love a chance to give you a personal welcome. We want to let you know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. And we have a visitor packet as well to offer you. Is there anyone here who is visiting for the first time? Just gently raise your hand. Wow, a whole crowd. Welcome, welcome. We want to also let you know there's many different ways to find out information. You'll see on the screen behind me, we have a website, we have a newsletter, we have Facebook, we have a YouTube channel, which we have had for 12 years. And we have Instagram, Bluesky, and the old-fashioned, old-school bulletin board, which has everything. So if you're looking for the nitty-gritty, it's on the physical bulletin board that is down the hall. And there are bulletin boards on both sides of the hallway, so take a look at those as well. Move into prayer. I invite you to find a spot as we move from our head. We move our awareness from our head down into our heart, that feeling space, as we take this moment and simply feel, simply know. We notice that heart space. We allow it to expand in this moment of deep awareness as we come together this early November morning, this brisk November morning. We open ourselves up to the reality that we are more than our humanity, that we are actually divine. We can say to ourselves, I am divine. And I am one with the divine spirit, never alone, always together in that oneness which we know. And with that we say, amen. At this time, we also want to open up this space for anyone that you know that may be struggling or in need of prayer. And at this time, we say those names either out loud or keep those in our heart, either way, the situation or the name, and we say that now. Hannah. Darling. Kurt. We hold these names, we hold these situations in our heart in prayer, knowing the Spirit is moving in that situation. Amen. Please join me in our unity prayer of oneness as we say out loud. There is one presence and one power in thy life and universe, God the good, omnipotence. Know that we have a prayer team that can hold you in prayer, hold the situation, hold loved ones or friends in prayer, you can put a prayer request in our prayer box, which is right outside the chapel. Fill that form out, place that in the box. We have a virtual prayer box as well, which is you can get to from our newsletter and our website again. Those prayers are prayed over for 30 days from our local prayer team. They are then sent to the village in Kansas City and prayed over for an additional 30 days. If you're ever in need of immediate prayer, day or night, 24/7, 365, you can use the Silent Unity number, and that number is on the screen, 816-969-2000, and a live human will pick that line up and pray with you. So we have that available to us as well. I'd now like to invite up Chris, who will, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Thank you, Reverend. My name is Chris, serving the Daily Word. Remembrance. I cherish the memories of my loved ones. Today I remember life as an eternal as I honor my dear ones who have passed. I send love and light to those who have enriched my life. My heart beams with love and gratitude and cherish the memories I hold so dearly. I honor and reflect the relationships that have meant so much to me. I open my heart, allowing myself to feel the tenderness of my emotions. I sense my relatives' love, a reminder their presence is alive in my heart. I visit my memories in the stillness, grateful for the time we spent together, my beloved. I love, wisdom, and strength are in me. As I remember the special ones, their memory will be a blessing that transcends time and space. Then he took a loaf of bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke and gave them, saying, "This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Luke 22:19, Daily Word.
So Viktor Frankl, who has heard of Viktor Frankl? Most of you have, good. He was a neurologist and a psychiatrist, and he survived the Holocaust. He was interred in a concentration camp, survived, and came out sharing some phenomenal revelations that he had during his time, and wrote a seminal book, In Search of Meaning, I believe is the name of it. Man's Search for Meaning, thank you. So Viktor Frankl, while he was imprisoned in the concentration camp, described moments of awe when he looked out at a sunset through the barbed wire. And he wrote, "I grasped the meaning of the greatest secret, that salvation is through love and in love." Now, can you imagine being in one of the worst human situations you could possibly be in, and yet have a moment of awe? Because in that moment, he looked past the barbed wire and saw a sunset. And his heart and mind were opened to a connection of something much greater. So we're going to talk today about thanks and gratitude, and how we can move from thanks to gratitude, and why that's important and what that means. But in essence, it's like learning to look past the barbed wire to see the sunset. So let's talk about that. I'm first going to talk a little bit about how thanks and gratitude are a little different. Because I think for the most part, I know I do, I tend to use those words interchangeably. I give thanks, I give gratitude, I'm thankful for, I'm grateful for. And that's not an unusual thing to do. But bear with me today as we look at some differences and why they're important to our spiritual growth. Thanks tends to be specific and situational. We generally use thanks as an act of expressing appreciation for something specific in our life that we feel is in our favor, something that we like, we appreciate, we're glad we received or experienced. It's usually an emotional response to something that's to our benefit. We give thanks for that. When we do a thankfulness practice, right, we look for the things in our life that we appreciate and like having there. Whereas gratitude is more of a mindset or a state of mind, a consciousness, a state of consciousness, if you will, that has an appreciation for life in general, for the relationships and connections that life brings. This is a more deeply felt, profound sense of appreciation. Now, doesn't make thankfulness any less valuable, but this is the difference we're going to talk about between giving thanks for something and feeling gratitude. Thankfulness or giving thanks will ebb and flow with the presence of whatever the situation brings. I mean, I can think of times I'm walking into a building and someone opens the door for me and I say, oh, thank you. And I'm feeling a moment of thanks. And in the next moment, I'm complaining because the elevator is taking too long to get there, right? That moment of thanks is gone. Now, we learn as children, don't we, to say please and thank you. Please, most of us do anyway, please and thank you. These are great practices, and we should do that, and thanks is a good thing, but it tends to come and go with whatever we're happening to experience in the moment, whatever our external world is presenting to us. That's giving thanks. Whereas with gratitude originates within us. A sense of gratitude, that deep, profound appreciation, that's something that comes from within out. And this is a sense or a recognition. This is actually a recognition and a faith in a divine source. It means it's knowing there's something greater than just me in this moment. There's something greater I am connected to. And that awareness, being anchored in an awareness, moves me into a state of mind that experiences gratitude. It's important because in challenging times, when we're feeling sad or angry or fearful or hurt, it's hard to say thank you. Because these are not things we generally want to have around. But when we're anchored in gratitude, when we're anchored in this deeper awareness of who we are in a greater experience of life, it's not that we're going to like those things, but we're able to accept them with compassion, with curiosity, and with non-judgment. With compassion, curiosity, and non-judgment. This is what a state of gratitude allows us to do when we're in challenging times. And that's because we know that we're a part of something much bigger than whatever's being presented at that moment. And this is what spiritual growth brings to us. And finally, thanks is an appreciation for. This is kind of a simple way to think about it. I am thankful for this, and I am thankful for that. I'm thankful for these things that are in my life. Whereas with gratitude, I am experiencing appreciation from an awareness of life as good, regardless of the situations that are being presented to me. So, thanks and gratitude. Thanks and gratitude. Now, who has a gratitude practice, like a journal? Does anyone do practice? Yeah, a few people do. It's a very common practice, very powerful practice. You sit down every day and you journal what you're thankful for. It's often recommended to do this at the end of your day to kind of Go to sleep at the end of the day remembering what you're grateful for, not just what upsets you or what hurts you or what you are afraid of. Now, this practice is really powerful because giving thanks, and I want to make sure you hear this, giving thanks is one of the most powerful practices you can do to move yourself into a state of gratitude. Because the more, it's like a muscle we practice. Because what happens when we're saying thanks, we're not complaining. When we're saying thanks, we're not criticizing. When we're saying thank you, we're not judging, right? It moves us into a different energy and flow. And the more we practice that, the more we move into this state of mind that I call gratitude. And then we start living from gratitude. So saying thanks is a good thing, and being thankful is incredibly powerful. So there's 3 ways I want to look at gratitude. One is gratitude as a spiritual vision. Gratitude as a spiritual vision. This is a quote from Myrtle Fillmore, because Myrtle Fillmore taught practicing gratitude as a way of seeing through the appearances to the divine truth. Seeing through the appearances to divine truth. So here's what she wrote. We praise and give thanks, not because everything is as we wish it to be. Let me just say that again, because this is the one I keep reading over and over. We praise and give thanks, not because everything is as we wish it to be, but because God is good, life is good, divine is good, and we are learning to see that goodness in everything. We're learning to see that goodness in everything. We're learning to look past the barbed wire and see the sunset and be filled with the awe of life as it is meant to be. This gratitude, this form of gratitude reveals that divine order is always present even when things seem chaotic. And this kind of gratitude is not denial. We're not denying there's something in front of us that we don't like, or there's something in front of us that is unjust, or there's something in front of us that is not life-affirming. We don't deny that, but it doesn't overtake us, and it doesn't shift us out of our own state of mind of recognizing that there is a truth beyond that, of wholeness, of oneness, and of an interconnectedness and life that flows through everything. And when we can move to that place, then we can not only handle that situation from a place of more peace and calm and certainty, but we can also be guided to know what to say and do to bring that good out and manifest it in this world. So what if gratitude isn't just about saying thank you, but it's about seeing differently? It's about seeing differently. I keep going back to the image of looking at a sunset through barbed wire. He looked for that moment, looked past the barbed wire and forgot it, and saw the beauty of life unfolding. And that moment stayed with him, and it's probably how he survived. Because there was within him this knowledge that there was still good. So let's go. Well, I'm sorry, wait, let me ask this question. This is a moment to reflect in your own life now. Where might I need to look with new eyes of gratitude today? So just take a moment to look in your life and see if there's anything popping up for you that's calling for a moment of gratitude. Where might I need to look with new eyes of gratitude today? Now let's move to gratitude as healing energy. You may never have thought of gratitude as healing energy. Would you have equated those two? But gratitude shifts us from a mindset of fear or lack or anxiety to a consciousness that is reconnected to the divinity of our nature, to the divine nature of all of life, to the recognition that life flows in divine order, and I am a part of that flow. Gratitude harmonizes the body, mind, and spirit. How does it do that? Well, how do we feel when we are tense and angry or upset and fearful? How does that feel? We tighten up, right? We tighten up because we're protecting ourselves. And whenever we're protecting ourselves, then we're resisting. And unfortunately, what we're resisting is the flow of life. Because life is constantly flowing. And when we tighten up, we're not allowing that flow to go through us and express through us and be us. So shifting to a state of gratitude, a mindset of gratitude, which is a mindset of love, by the way, gratitude and love are the same thing. We love in gratitude. We are gratitude. We feel grateful in love. When we move to that place of mind, then we soften our resistance. We open our hearts and we restore that flow of life that is constantly present, just waiting for us to allow it to come through and express as us in the unlimited opportunities and possibilities we have to express it. So I have a quote from Mary Morrissey. Sorry, Beth isn't here. I know she would like this. Beth has been studying with Mary Morrissey for a long time. Mary Morrissey says this. Mary Morrissey is a New Thought author and teacher. She does many, many successful prosperity courses. She says this: gratitude puts us in harmony with the very source that's breathing us. Gratitude puts us in harmony with the very source that's breathing us, the very power that gives us life. I love this. This is a very powerful quote because it's a reminder, this is what God is. God is the power of life breathing us. We are the image and expression of this divine creative life source. And gratitude becomes a natural state of mind to live from when we are in that state. Charles Fillmore, who's one of the co-founders of Unity, wrote in his book, Prosperity, he says, gratitude is the rain that refreshes the soil. Gratitude is like the rain that refreshes, renews, revitalizes, and brings fresh life back to our lives, our consciousness, our actions, and our sense of being. So gratitude doesn't just acknowledge good. Thanks, when we say thanks, we're acknowledging good. Gratitude doesn't acknowledge good, it activates good. It activates good. When I am grateful from the reconnection to my source, and I am living from that place, I am activating good in my life, and I'm activating good in this world with my words, with my thoughts, and with my actions, behaviors, and experiences. I bet you didn't know gratitude was such a big thing. Huh? Gratitude. Gratitude tunes us into the divine flow. So the last one I want to talk about is gratitude as spiritual growth. Well, wait, let me go back a minute. Before I move into that one, let me share a quick story of how gratitude, how we can shift from resentment to gratitude, and it can change our experience here. Because I had as a child, well, more as a teenager and young adult, I had a very prickly relationship with my dad. Prickly is putting it kindly. Now, my dad is not a bad person. I was not being abused, but he had his way of seeing the world, and he thought as a young woman, I had a particular way to be in this world that did not match my expectations of what I wanted to be in this world. And so we clashed a lot. But for me, it just made me so angry. He just made me so angry because he was of his generation, doing what he thought a father should do, and that was being the controlling, almighty patriarch. And I did everything to resist a controlling, almighty, patriarchal father. So I did not have a good relationship with him. As a teenager, I used to write in my remember diaries? Little diaries with little locks that my brother would unlock and leave messages for me in my diary. So that's another story. How angry, I just wrote pages and pages of, he did this and it made me so mad. And he's so horrible. I just hate him. And it was just so powerful. And this moved into my young adult life too. To the point where I didn't like going home because I did not like being around him. He just sparked this anger in me. Well, I had to do a lot of work on myself, as you might guess, and look at my own triggers and where they were really coming from. And eventually, I started to do a practice of looking for the things I appreciated about him, the things I could be thankful for, because there were many. He did a good job taking care of us. We always had food on the table. We always had clothes, and we always had school supplies. We took vacations together. He did many good things as a father. And my practice was to start saying thank you in my own heart to those things. And the more I practiced that, and I have to tell you, this was one of my hardest forgiveness practices was with my father. And it took time, but the more I practiced it, the more I softened. So when I thought of him, it wasn't this immediate trigger. And the more I practiced, the more I began to see him in a whole different light. Now, my father didn't change, okay? He was exactly the same person he was when I was growing up. He had a very different worldview than I had. He didn't change, but I did. And in my ability to be thankful, to look past the barbed wire and see the sunset in him, I eventually found an ease at being around him, a true, authentic, deep, profound love for him as my dad, and was able to come to family gatherings without it turning into a big brawl, which it usually did in my younger years. The practice of being grateful softened me until I could see him differently. So I know we all have people in our lives that we have to work with, because this life is about relationships. This life is about reconnecting where we're not connecting, because that's the place where we're holding off the flow of life. And the flow of life must flow, because that's its nature and that is ours. So let's talk a minute about gratitude is spiritual growth. I forgot to mention that this month of November, we've had themes every year growing through. This theme for the month is growing through gratitude, as you might have guessed. But we're talking about it because gratitude grows us. We grow as human beings, but we also grow and deepen our spiritual awakening and our spiritual awareness. So early in our journey, we're thankful for blessings, right? That's usually an early spiritual practice, is say thank you for the things you have in your life. If you're feeling bad, find something to be thankful for. I remember I talked to my mom one time many years ago. I was grousing about something in my life. I was really upset about something. And finally she said, before she hung up, she goes, I'm going to hang up and I want you to go through the alphabet and find something you're grateful for every single letter. I was like, all right, I will. And I hung up, and I tell you, it's not easy, especially when you're like kind of down in the dumps and upset. It's not easy to find things. And you start looking, okay, air. I'm grateful for air. And that's literally the way it starts, right? But here's the thing, by the time I got to Z, it probably took me an hour. I mean, it wasn't that easy. I was really being serious about it because I really did want to shift. And when I noticed that I wasn't totally out of my funk, but you know what? For an hour, I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't focused on it. I was focused on something I could be thankful for. And that started the shift. So we learn to be thankful for blessings, but as we grow and we spiritually mature and we deepen our awareness of our own spiritual nature and the spiritual nature of all of life, we learn to be grateful in all things. In all things. Can you imagine? Grateful. I might not say thank you for it, but I can find a sense of gratitude. And here is why. Because when we grow in gratitude, we grow in the trust and the faith in God, trust and faith in spirit, a trust and faith and confidence in a life that is full of goodness, whether I am seeing it in that moment or not. And in that faith and trust, I develop an awareness that every experience holds the potential for growth and awakening. So I can look out in this world and I'm not going to say thank you for that, but I can say, wow, I am grateful to know that this apparently is part of our journey to growing spiritually and maturing, to know that our source is always present. So I wanted to pull something out of the Christian scriptures, 1 Thessalonians 5, 15, 18. Give thanks in all circumstances was what I wanted to pull out, but this whole thing, I included the beginning part and end because I thought it was really important. Because this is what the message was. See that none of you repays evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another and to all. Really? That sounds lovely when we're sitting here in the Sunday service, doesn't it? But when we walk out there and we face a lot of what's happening in the world, it's not always that easy to look at that and go, yeah, I'm going to do good for you. But if we can practice coming from that, shift that mindset, look past the barbed wire and see that sunset, the awe of life that is present in each and every person we see, whether they are expressing it or not, it's there. And by seeing it, we draw that forward. So Thessalonians goes on to say, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, and give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God. The will of God is simply what is. It is divine life, which unfolds in magnificent divine order. Divine life, which will continue to grow and expand and magnify the good in numerous ways. And we're meant for life to be that way. But while we've forgotten, we miss it. So how can we get back there? Pray without ceasing? Does that mean we walk around like this all day long? No. Be thankful in all circumstances. Rejoice always. It doesn't mean when you're standing in front of something that is painful or is coming up for healing that you have to go, yay! Oh, yay! Another learning experience. But you can shift to a place of knowing, wow, this is a part of my life's experience and my life's journey. And it is leading me to a deeper awareness of the God within me, of the divine within me, of the good that is possible as I move through this. And for that, I can be grateful. And that's what a mindset of gratitude does. So this is what it means to, in everything, give thanks, how we live it metaphysically. We're not saying thanks for the suffering itself, but for the divine life at work through it. Gratitude turns ordinary moments into sacred encounters. And that's where we started. Viktor Frankl was in one of the most extreme situations you could probably be in. And this is why I think his experience is so profound for us to use as a benchmark, because if he could do that, then certainly I can face the things happening in my life and look past whatever little barbed wire is poking at me and aggravating me and annoying me, to see that the sunset's also there. The love, the good, the light is also there, always. So I'm going to close by saying gratitude is how we say yes to life. We say yes to life through gratitude. Through saying, yes, I see you, I love you, I accept you, I appreciate you. I am saying yes to life. It opens our hearts, it opens our minds, it opens our souls to live the life we're meant to live in the flow of gratitude. I don't give gratitude. We don't give gratitude. We live gratitude, and we give thanks. Thanks follows living from gratitude. So here's an affirmation I'm going to offer you, and then we're going to go into a short meditation. As always, if these words resonate, wonderful. If you have other words that are coming up for you, use those. Use what resonates in your heart. I live in gratitude, and gratitude lives in and through me. Can you say that with me together? I live in gratitude, and gratitude lives in and through me. Now, there's one last thing I want to share with you before we go into our meditation. I was writing this talk, and I happened to, Reverend Dr. Martha Creek, who's been around Unity many, many years, I get her newsletter, and I got her newsletter, and she was sharing the most beautiful experience that she had at the latest New Thought conference. I guess it was like a conference that they had at the Unity Center. And she shared this. She said, Anne Lamott once wrote, mostly what we are left with in dark times is each other. One of us might remind the others to look around for fitful flickers of light as a radical act. So when we're in the dark, we remind ourselves, look for the sunset through the barbed wire. Look for the little flickers of light. So Martha writes, there's no denying that we live in challenging times, filled with division, fear, and uncertainty. Yet, even in the midst of it, there are fitful flickers of light. A child's laughter, a kind word, a song that lifts us to our feet. When we practice thanks living, which is gratitude as a way of life, we begin to see through the mist. Gratitude doesn't deny difficulty, it transforms it. It doesn't erase pain, it reveals the love that endures underneath it all. Love, compassion, laughter, these are our spiritual lifelines. They don't change the headlines, but they change us. And when we change, the world begins to soften, one encounter at a time. So, I invite you to take these beautiful... Thank you, Lawrence. So with that, I invite you to gently turn within as we go. And let's take this idea of gratitude as a shift in our state of mind a little deeper into our consciousness. We begin by putting our feet on the floor, our hands resting gently on our laps, the eyes gently closed or focused softly on something that allows you to be still. Take a moment to focus on your breath moving in and quietly moving out. Focus on a long, slow breath in. And on that long, slow exhale, let your shoulders relax a little more. The face muscles go at ease. The hands and the feet are at rest. And as we allow our body to soften and relax, we let our mind soften and relax. We don't have to stop all the thinking, but we focus our thinking. We focus our thinking on the idea of gratitude. But we approach this word with curiosity, with openness, with an open heart to say, what is gratitude in me? And then we softly listen. How does gratitude live in me? Even when things are tough and challenging. And notice any sense of feeling, any words that might come to you, any visuals. We all receive insight in different ways. So take a moment to notice how gratitude shows up for you. Then once again, begin to focus on your breath, feeling the air moving in. Feel a sense of gratitude for that air moving in, the air moving out. Feel a thank you for this breath, this life-giving breath. And hold the intention to bring this deep sense of gratitude with you throughout today, throughout the week. It may be a practice of saying thank you more. It may simply be a practice of noticing, especially in challenging times, the sunset beyond the barbed wire. We move our attention up behind our eyes as we begin to wiggle fingers and toes. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Put your palms together as we say in gratitude, Namaste. Namaste. Thank you.
Now is the time in our service where we get to experience the incredible power of giving and receiving. It is your very presence and your generous gifts that you offer here today that feed the vitality of this community, which we call Unity of Charlotte. This allows us to continue to love, grow, and serve each other as well as the world around us. There's many different ways in which we can participate in that consistent giving. There's that donate button on our website. You can use your phone and text the word give to that phone number. You can set up a bill pay at your own bank, or you can use the QR codes that you see on the screen or down the hallway. There's multiple places where we have that, and you can set up a payment even in PayPal as well. But I would invite you, if you are giving here today, to hold that gift in your hand, or if you've already given online, hold the image of that gift and feel that. That's what we're doing here as we hold that. We're infusing that gift with love. And then say with me out loud, joyously I give this gift, knowing the divine presence blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. We are light, love, power, and presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.